Hi everyone, this is Divya from Quickmommyhacks, and today I have Priya with us. Priya is a mom to a 9-year-old. She's from Tamilnadu, India, and she has taken an initiative of spreading awareness and also advocating about dyslexia, and she will share her journey with us today. Hi Priya, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. And how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. So, thank you so much for joining to discuss this issue about dyslexia and to also like spread the awareness. So, it's really nice to have you. So, why don't you start by telling me a little bit about yourself?
I'm Shanmugapriya PERIYANNAN and I'm born and brought up in Tamil Nadu. Uh, and I have done my doctorate in material science and chemistry. Right now, I'm between the jobs and I'm mom to a 9-year-old kid. Um, he, yeah, that's all.
So, when and how did you come to know about your son's dyslexia?
I started realizing it like about 7 or 8 months before, especially when there was one incident uh, where I have to repeat him for the pronunciation of the same word. For example, the word was have, and I might have told him like even hundreds of times, but the next time he see the word have, I still have to teach him the pronunciation. Initially, it was frustrating, and I thought that like he's not focusing well. But then, when he was repeatedly doing it, and there was a moment he was uh, emotionally breaking down that I'm trying to remember, but I'm not able to remember. That's what he said exactly. Then I
Okay.
started to think more deeply, like maybe something more that he's facing. Initially, I didn't think it as a learning difference. I thought maybe he's having difficulty in putting efforts itself. I thought that maybe asking him to work more harder might do, but that was not
Yeah.
helping. And
Hmm.
then I started to notice him more minutely for the patterns because he'll skip few words while reading, or he
Okay.
will reverse the or flip the letters like the second and third letter. As
Okay.
soon as he flipped the letter, he will realize that he has made some mistake, but he will
Hmm.
not be able to go further. So
Hmm.
these small things I started to notice, and then also I was starting to realize that he's in the fourth grade now. Last year I saw that like when he's in third grade, he was still not able to tell the months in order and the days in order.
Okay.
Then everything was telling me like I need to know something more or know what is happening with it. When I was randomly checking in Google like difficulty in reading or difficulty in remembering months and days, the word dyslexia was appearing, and then I started
Okay.
to educating myself. So it
Hmm.
is like several months ago, with his patterns and things, I was sure that he might be having dyslexia, but then I didn't know whom to approach or
Okay.
where to whom to ask even.
Hmm. So, did you see any doctor or like were there any kind of tests which were done to determine that it was dyslexia?
The test was done. As I said, like I knew that he might be dyslexic, but I didn't know to whom ask. And it
Hmm.
was a fortunate accident when one of my friend was having the WhatsApp status as like "Go Red for dyslexia,"
Okay.
and she was supporting her sister, who is a doctor and
Hmm.
educational therapist. I didn't wait even for a second, and I asked about her sister and got her contact number, and we arranged an appointment for first initially to have a talk between us. And
Yeah.
she was asking us like what kind of symptoms that I'm seeing now, and what is his learning process patterns. And then she gave me appointment for 2 days of assessment, which involved like reading, writing, and comprehension. All were done online.
Hmm.
Also, the even though the places that we are far away, I
Hmm.
would say like this pandemic and having everything in online has helped me a lot
Yeah.
in
Hmm.
this matter particularly.
Hmm.
In the next few days, we had the assessment with reading, writing, and comprehension, which involved around 3.5 hours of assessment. Like she didn't go on the whole stretch, like she wanted to split it so that he will
Mm-hmm.
not feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had it for 2 days, and then
So,
she sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, and after the assessment, we had a discussion for 45 minutes where
Okay.
she explained everything verbally.
Mm-hmm. Any other kind of diagnosis along with dyslexia?
It was only for the common dyslexia condition. But then, what I notice in my son's condition is he also probably has dysgraphia and dyscalculia.
Okay.
Dyscalculia is what I said, like not able to remember the months or days and having
Mm-hmm.
trouble with remembering the numbers. When we have, for example, say a year or month, he'll be having trouble to bring it back from his memory. And then this graphia is, this is something which was the starting point probably, because when he was in the first grade itself, the initial complaint from school was like that he is not copying the notes from the board
Mm-hmm.
like his classmates, and he's taking lots of unusually lots of time, which I thought that probably he is distracted or talking with friends and not doing it. And I thought that he will get better at it at a later point.
Mm-hmm.
But then this is called dysgraphia, it seems, for
Okay.
which we didn't do any diagnosis yet.
Mm-hmm.
But for the formal diagnosis, we have asked for all of them together, which we'll
Okay.
have at a later point. Yeah.
Okay. So, you mentioned that your son, of course, like you found out about dyslexia only like few months back. So,
Mhm.
did your son have any early symptoms like, late talking or probably, difficulty in learning new words and some of the other early symptoms that kids with dyslexia might have?
He had, I would not say late talking, but then he was from the beginning he was finding it difficult to put the words together to make sentences.
Okay.
When he starts saying something, we have to understand him and we have to finish the sentence for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would say like, yeah, that's what I meant exactly like that. Still
Okay.
now, like when he has to answer a question, whether it is regarding studies or even what he wants to express, we
Mm-hmm.
have to finish him, like finish the sentence, and then he would say, yeah, yeah, that's what I meant to say. This was there from the beginning when he started to talk.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he started to read and write, then there was
Okay.
problem with skipping the words or uh, seeing the letters differently. For example, if it
Mm-hmm.
is cat, he would say like he will put it either inverse, or sometimes he will find B and D confused,
Okay.
like bat or
Mm-hmm.
dad. That
Mm-hmm.
will be confusing for him.
Okay. Did you also notice any behavioral problems or any social difficulties?
Not the behavioral problems, but I can see that he has social difficulties. Like he's good to go with children of his age to play,
Yeah.
but then when some elders wants to talk with him, he'll be either shy or anxious. Like
Mm-hmm.
if the question is very simple, he'll be shy to answer back, and if the question is something that is troubling him, or even like more than what he can process in his mind, he will be getting anxious already or panicked even. And when we give a set of instructions like one by one, he will ask us to like slow down. Like I'm not
Okay.
able to follow them all together.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me one by one or slowly like that. And
Mm-hmm.
also like he eats very slow. Like for example, if we eat in 10 minutes, he'll take sometimes even half an hour to even 1 hour,
Mm-hmm.
even without distraction. Sometimes when people eat by seeing TV and eating, they will take time.
Okay.
But then, even without any distractions, like he'll be the last to finish his plate.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when we ask him to do something, like he has the habit of like keep on pushing it until I tell him sternly,
Mm-hmm.
like whether it is going for bath or sitting for studying and everything. He just procrastinate, or like he just pushes me until I tell him sternly. Yeah.
Okay. When you found out about this, so how has this entire thing affected you, like as a family?
As a family, it was often emotional breakdown for each other. Like especially, I started noticing it when he only when the learning process was getting difficult. At school, also there was few complaints, and at home when I was teaching him, I see that like for a home activity which would take like half an hour, he would sit for even 4 hours, which was
Okay.
affecting my works as well.
Hmm.
So since I was the educator for him at home, it was affecting me and him more emotionally than his father. He would teach him only the mother tongue language. All the
Hmm.
other subjects were taught by me.
Hmm.
So we were often like breaking down emotionally. We would
Okay.
cry at each other, and then we would come back and hug and say like sorry to each other. It was more of emotional breakdowns often.
So, when you were going through this entire situation and when you started looking, were you able to find resources to help navigate? And particularly in India, like what kind of associations are present and how much does this cost, like for the assessment?
uh, I would say that I didn't find any community at all. In I didn't search for all over India initially. Initially, I was searching only within Tamil Nadu,
Hmm.
and then I found out there is only one association here. But then I didn't reach them initially since my friend's sister was already, as I said, I was reaching to
Hmm.
her. I just
Yeah.
knew that there is only one association in Tamil Nadu. But I would say the awareness is very, very less.
Hmm.
And I would say like there is a stigma around the whole educational thing and the standards they have in their mind for the education system in our country, especially. Like when we say even the parents would be ready to discuss when they do some
Hmm.
great things, but
Yeah.
not when they are lacking at something or
Hmm.
struggling at something.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any parents to discuss with or feel like, okay, I'm not alone. But then I found a very good community and resources through only social media, especially through Instagram. There's
Hmm.
lots of educators, parents who took to Instagram to share their experiences,
Yeah.
and that was helping me a lot, which was
Hmm.
all mostly from US and Europe.
Hmm.
I didn't find any, even for the association that I saw in Tamil Nadu, they are not very much active in Instagram, probably. I don't know how it is in Facebook, but
Hmm.
Instagram, I didn't find them very active. But their tips was also helping me for sure. Uh, but then I would say there needs to be more awareness
Hmm.
for parents to come up and talk about their struggling parts as well, not just what they achieve
Yeah.
or what they are good at. That
Hmm.
will make the community bigger and the resources more available.
How do you think the parents can, like, maximize the social media or, the available resources in order to incorporate things in their daily life?
Yeah, if we follow, like, there are some communities or the pages in Instagram which is specifically for the resources and the educators. If we follow the educators for dyslexia, they give regular tips like how to approach the kid and what kind of strategy you can follow at home
Hmm.
and how you can even understand them better. For sure, every child is unique, but like when you are following several of the educators and the associations like this, we get like more tips from each of them,
Hmm.
and we cannot we can incorporate which will be suitable for our kid, because we know
Yeah.
as a parent at home how they are and what kind of things they might need. And when we see some steps, we will think that okay, this might help him. We'll be able to realize it. So
Hmm.
I would say like to follow the educators and the associations available, even the parents when they
Yeah.
share experiences of emotional breakdowns, that helps you to feel like we are not
Yeah.
alone here.
Mm-hmm.
And how we can, like, the strategy they followed at that moment of emotional breakdown might
Mm-hmm.
help us for a future scenario at while we are in the learning process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
So,
I
mhm.
forgot to mention the other associations and the price for the assessment for the earlier
Yeah,
question. Shall I
yeah,
say
yeah,
that
sure.
now?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Um, okay, for the other associations, I found that like there is one Maharashtra Dyslexia Association and one more in the Dyslexia Association for India. I got lots of information from those pages as well, and the cost varies from one association to the other. For example, in for the when we had the informal assessment for my son with our doctor who is already having the classes with my son, we had to pay 500 rupees for the
Mm-hmm.
informal assessment. But for the
Okay,
formal assessment, which I have booked now, it costs 3,500 rupees and it will be also for 2 days. For the
okay.
other associations, the maximum amount I saw was even 19,000, which
Mm-hmm.
includes lots of other tests, not just
Mm-hmm.
for the dyslexia, which includes the IQ test and so many other things they have listed out. So
Okay.
based on what we need, maybe it is customizable. For the basic, I would say like it would cost few thousand.
So, what kind of laws are present in India currently, for making the navigation through the education system better?
As far as I have learned, only 5 states have implemented the laws or the specific rules and conditions for the kids who are having specific learning disabilities. Uh, Also, the ICSE and CBSE schools, they have the rules and regulations, which the other state people also can make use of. For example, for CBSE, in which my son is now studying, I would say the rules over there. For that, we can have at least 1 hour more of examination time for each
Mm-hmm.
exam.
Okay.
And then we can even have a writer. I mean, we can, the student can uh, tell the answer and the writer will write for them,
Mm-hmm.
who is having very severe dyslexia problem for them. And then when there are two languages or three languages, right, they can stick to just one language. Like they need not have the another language as a mandatory one. And also they can skip few subjects. Usually we will have 5 subjects. They can take 3 or 4 depending on how severe their condition is. Um, all these can be done when we have a proper report from a doctor
Mm-hmm.
who tests the
Okay.
kid and give a report which we can submit in a school to avail these conditions.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder, like, when the awareness itself is very, very less
Yeah.
for the condition itself, having awareness towards the rules and conditions which are already available in the law itself, I don't think so. There is very high reach about this. This
Okay.
will make the parents feel like not to feel left out, that our kid is left out kind of. The awareness towards the condition as well as the laws which we can make use of
Mm-hmm.
will help us emotionally even, I would say.
Yeah. So, as parents, given all the resources and everything, what kind of changes have you made, to help him at home and at school? And also, what kind of advice would you like to give to other parents who are in the similar situation?
The first thing is like more patience, which I was lacking very much initially, like because I didn't know that he's having a learning difference. All
Yeah.
I thought was like he need to focus or work more harder, but we need more patience,
Mm-hmm.
way more than what we can really do with the usual kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then like talk with fellow parents or the educators and start note. I mean, if there is a small complaint from school, like don't think that he will change later, he or she
Yeah.
will get better at a later point, or he has to focus more. um, we need to probably we need to pay more attention and look for patterns, like how their learning patterns are, and for what they are panicking or for what they are feeling anxious, and paying more attention to minute things in their behavior and learning process is a must for kids who will have learning differences. And
Mm-hmm.
when they doesn't perform good in the exams,
Yeah.
don't ask them to read more, because for them teaching them more creatively helps,
Yeah.
rather than giving them a book and a sheet of paper to read. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't help at all. So we have to start learning to be more creative as a parent as well, not just the educators at
Mm-hmm.
school. I would say, like, to be more patient and look into their learning process minutely, and
Mm-hmm.
start teaching them creatively,
Okay.
and start building a community even if possible with
Mm-hmm.
the people around.
Mm-hmm. But thank you so much for, sharing your story with us. And as I mentioned, you are doing a great job on taking this initiative of basically spreading the awareness about dyslexia and sharing your learnings with everybody. So it's going to help a lot of people. Thank you.
Thank you very much for asking me to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Well, this brings me to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Quick Mommy Hacks, and follow me on Instagram for some personal tips on pregnancy, childbirth, and motherhood. Also, do leave your feedback and feel free to ask questions in the comment section below.